This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch.
Hello, my name is Harry Tambuatco. Welcome to our program. We have an issue when it comes to truth. We have an issue when it comes to what we call perception. Nowadays, perception is made truth. But what really is the truth? Is it because the written word tells us a story of certain facts? Are facts really presented the way it's supposed to be? Facts. When we read the newspapers on a daily basis, is that a fact? Or is that a presentation of a story? Now, on TV, when you watch the major news events, are facts really delivered? Are they not biased one way or the other? Isn't bias a human nature, one way or the other? When I do my show, I always have to say, one way or the other, I too am also biased. I too am only human. Now, we try to decipher what the truth is. But do you and I really know the truth? Most of the times, I regret it is fleeting. It is difficult, and we have to find the truth in a number of ways. One, talking to a number of people, reading different articles, reading different journals, listening, talking, having discussions, and watching other people. I have the opportunity, being a broadcast TV host, to actually sit and talk to different people that give different accounts of what history or how history developed, especially our political history. The problem with truths, again, well, it depends on my perception, your perception, the presenter's perception. But if you sit back and listen, give this a chance. Tonight, we are going to do a show that's going to talk about truth that should prevail. But what, again, is the truth? You be the judge. We are going to talk about issues concerning people who have been in government for many, many years. Our special guest, we have former Congressman and Philippine Olympic Committee President. We have Jose Peping Cojuangco. Congressman, salamat po, narito po kayo sa TV show.
Thank you.
It is nice to have someone who has actually experienced and been part of the history rather than just read it from some other people. Kayo po, kasali po kayo sa mga saysayan ng mga nangyari.
Well, during the my younger days, yes.
Oh, how many years po kayo sa Kongreso? 5 terms, sabi niyo?
Yes, 5 terms.
Biro mo, that's 15 years. And all these terms, especially in the early days, ang tawag nga dyan, the August Halls of Congress. Now, if only we could say the same instead of puro mga artista ngayon. Ano? Parang ganun po nangyayari. But never mind the politics. I'd like to concentrate on the past about certain things that maybe need a little bit of straightening out. Maybe we should go back to 1985 concerning your brother, his look, the national hero Ninoy Cojuangco Aquino.
Well,
how would you start that? 1985.
1985, no, Ninoy would have been dead by then.
Patay na nga pala yun.
1983, he died in
August
August 21,
right.
yes.
But his concept of public service from the very beginning?
Well, yes, this was in 1955.
Jesus, 30 years back pa pala.
Yes.
55.
In 1955, I was running for councilor of Paniki. Ninoy was running for mayor of Concepcion.
Opo.
And, like often, when we go to Manila, since we were using the MacArthur Highway, it used to take us about 3 hours to drive to Manila from Tarlac. And we used to do a lot of conversing then. And one day he says, why are you running for councilor? And I really didn't know, why I was running. I was being pushed by the people of my town. They said, we need you, we'd like to. And I said, I don't know, if you think I can do something, and that's what I answered. And Berlin said, anyway, he said, I just want you to understand one thing. When you get into politics or you get into public service, it's a thankless job. Don't expect that it will give you glory or aggrandizement or something that will benefit you. Most of the time, this will be just sacrifice. And your only consolation will be self-satisfaction that you were able to do something for the people.
And you still pursued, in spite of the sacrifice being presented to you as reality.
Well, at that time, people used to tell me, it's impossible for you not to be in politics. Your mother is Sumulong and your father is Cojuangco, both are in politics and public service. And the people in the town really said they needed me. And I just finished graduating from my college degree in the United States. And in point of fact, this is a little bit after, I was underage. I was only 21 years old.
Batang-bata pa po kayo.
And I was not eligible to run for any office. But somehow, the people signed, I don't know how many people signed a piece of paper. And they filed my certificate of candidacy, which I think at that time, so many signatures make you an official candidate. And I became an official candidate, and they counted my votes.
So you were swept into politics,
But I never could forget that one particular stress that Ninoy told me that this is nothing but sacrifice. You must, and well, I started off as best as I could, but in the end, I understood what he meant.
Well, it's being espoused by a lot of great men today, continuously. Moving forward, your views at the time when you had land reform, that was when it first became in vogue.
Well, this was in 1962. I was first elected a member of the House of Representatives, representing the 1st District of Tarlac. I was called to Malacanang by then President Diosdado Macapagal. And then he said, well, Peping, I invited you here because I'm forming a special committee to study a program of land reform. I want to come up with some legislation. That's why I invited you. And I told him, Mr. President, how can I become a part of land reform when my family is one of the biggest landowners in the Philippines?
I'm glad you're the one who said that, not me, but go ahead.
And so and President Macapagal said, that's why I want you there. I want somebody who understands this thing, And then, well, that's how you feel. I'll try my best, Mr. President. And then, right after coming out of Malacanang, I called up Ninoy. And I said, Ninoy, the President wants me to be a member of this special committee. What do you think? Well, Ninoy said, it's already important. It's one of the country needs land reform. He says, if we are to avoid becoming communists and being in the hands of communists, he says, we have to have some kind of land reform. And so I proceeded. And Ninoy himself actually carried out his own land reform. He had a 400-hectare area, his own property, and
he implemented his own.
He implemented his own land reform. He sold his land to on installment, I guess, to his tenants, and they proceeded really well. In doing that. So that is the kind of person that setting an example like that. And I followed suit, and that's why the land reform that I know of is this. The purpose of land reform is to improve the living conditions of the people tilling the land.
Yes, yes.
And then to transfer Filipino capital from agriculture into industry. Those are the two main purposes. And unfortunately, the only definition that people that are involved in land reform, the only interpretation they have is land distribution.
Yun lang ang concept today.
Yeah, up to date. And, you know, I've been unable to say anything about this or that about land reform because everybody would be saying that I'm just trying to defend our property. But now that they've taken all our properties anymore, I think I'm a bit free to say something already. But one of the things I've kept asking people that are involved in, and the only one that answered my request was Secretary Guerilao during the time of President Ramos. I said, why don't you conduct a survey on how the people that received this land or bought this land, you know, they keep saying they gave the land. They don't give the land. They sell the land, you know, and how they're doing. Well, Secretary Guerilao used to tell me, of course they'll do well. You know, they own it already. They have more incentive to work hard and so forth. I said, okay, if you're so sure. I just want to see what's happening. So he finally acceded and he conducted a survey. It showed that over 50% of the people in the land reform beneficiaries were worse off than they were before. And as little as 18% were better off.
And the production of agriculture has actually diminished dramatically.
Terribly.
Baliktad.
Yes,
So the management just went down.
But in any case, for me, ever since then, I stuck to what I knew, which is agriculture. That's why the only position I accepted as an appointed government official was being the presidential advisor on food security under Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, because I really think that our country is an agricultural country. I used to keep telling the President, Gloria Arroyo, I said, don't forget, over 50% of the population in the Philippines live off agriculture. What have we done with agriculture? And this is one of the things that has been bothering me lately, you know. When you read that the DAP and the PDAP of both the agrarian reform and agriculture have been just managed and disappeared, you know. And that's why we're importing now so many of our food stuff, you know. And unfortunately, not many people know that less than 5% of world rice production is traded internationally. In other words, if India and China, all of a sudden, both are rice-eating countries, all of a sudden have shortage, I don't think we'll be able to buy any rice for the Philippines, you know. Baliktad sa kamoting kahoy. But anyway, that's the land reform program that in that aspect, besides sports, I can't let that go. I can't let go.
We're going to have to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, we are starting out with a bit of the history going forward and taking on multiple little topics as we go along to help you understand some issues that we wish to bring out. When we come back, we're going to discuss the interrelationship, so to speak, between the Nacionalista Party and the Liberal and what actually happened. Stay with us.